So I'm on a mission to reduce the amount of fabric that I have by sewing one project per week, and this is week number 3. This week's project is based off of a dress from Disturbia that I really love but absolutely do not have the money for, so I'm making it myself out of satin. I made a digital pattern for the bodice, which I immediately altered because the neckline was completely wrong once I printed it out. I cut out that altered pattern as well as some little strips to use as facing for later on, and then I didn't actually make a pattern for the skirt because I wanted to maximize the amount of volume in the material. So I folded my fabric left into thirds and cut a diagonal line across the entire length. That gave me 6 total trapezoids, one of which was split in half on the straight edge and formed the center front. I sewed and pressed all of the darts, then sewed the side and shoulder seams together, and immediately realized that there is in fact a reason why people recommend doing test fits or mock-ups, because I don't usually do that, and it's a really good thing that I did it on this project, because this first version was way too small, so I ended up taking out those darts and making them shorter and skinnier. At that point, it fit perfectly, so I moved on to the sleeves, sewing up the side seams and then connecting each of them to the bodice around the armhole. For the skirt, I laid it all flat and then sewed up most of the side seams except for the ones that were closest to the center front, leaving a bit of a gap there so that there was slits on either side. Then I gathered it until the seam lines matched the bodice and pinned and sewed them together. To finish the front edge, I used facing strips. I serged one edge of it because it was going to be exposed on the inside, and then pinned the non-serged edge to the right side of the fabric. Before finishing the facing, I cut the lace that I had in half and pinned it around the front edge with the lace scallops facing inward towards the garment. Then I serged the neckline all the way around, including the sections that didn't have lace. I folded the serged edge inward and then top stitched it about 1/4 inch away, and repeated that process for the lace on the hem. I forgot to record folding the facing over and finishing that, but it was the same general process before adding the buttonholes and ultimately sewing the buttons on manually, which I absolutely hate doing. It was totally worth all that effort though, because I am absolutely in love with this final result. I think I'm officially going to start doing a number rating for all of these projects, and this one is a firm 10 out of 10. The bodice fits perfectly, the skirt is super floaty, and I really like the use of slits instead of the lace gores that the original Disturbia dress has. I've been saving these buttons for ages, but I think that they were really perfect for this project. What do you think about project number 3?